Hey y'all, I'm William, the dev at Latitude. Today I want to hop on here and I want to show you how we can go from a customer described problem with our agent to actually finding out what is going on with our agent and then shipping a fix and then making sure that that problem never comes back. Now, one of the cool things the Latitude platform offers you is the ability to find issues that you didn't even know existed. And we do that through what are called our discoverability features. So let's get into it. Here we have a travel agent. This travel agent is just used to do bookings and check out travel information for things like flights and hotels and whatnot, okay? So we have a user named Mara who described that she was getting downgraded constantly. Now, we know in one case that Mara was downgraded to a hostel, even though she had never asked for that. And that's a little bit what we're gonna look at today. Okay, so to do that, let's take a look first at our search feature. This is in our discoverability features. We have them right over here. You see the discoverability features are these first four right here. Okay, and this is going to allow us to search within our sessions, which are just conversations that the agent has had. And we can use this to find really whatever we're interested in. But in this case, right, we're interested in hostels. So to do that, what we're going to do is go here and search the term hostel, okay? And we're also going to filter this by users, okay? And we're going to go here to user ID, okay? And then type Mara. So doing that, we have four traces that popped up. So we can click on one of these traces, and we're going to be brought to the exact spot in that trace where the term hostel is mentioned or anything related to hostels, because this is what we call semantic search, okay? Semantic search works in the way that it searches for things, both the word and relevant things related to the word. So in this case, we type in hostel, and we have a few things here. So let's take a look. So here we just have hotels. There's nothing wrong with this, okay? So we looked here, and in the first trace, we have an issue, okay? So she says, find me a hotel in Porto for the first weekend of September, okay? And then it says, let me check, and it goes and searches the hotels, okay? Porto, and then here we have a max nightly euros at 60, okay? So this number here is a little bit not typical of a hotel, okay? So maybe this is raising a couple alarms. Now let's continue looking. And then the agent responds under your 60 euro ceiling to properties. Okay, so it's taking into account this 60 euro ceiling, which is a bit odd for a hotel, right? Hotels are normally more expensive than $60. So now in Latitude, when you discover something that you're not quite keen on, what you can do is go in and leave a little annotation. So here in the response where it says under your 60 euro ceiling, we can go here, highlight that, and then put a thumbs down. All right, and then we can write what we would like to be improved. And then we hit save. And then we can continue on to the next trace. So now having read this, we see that Dan's accommodation budget is 60 euros. Okay, so we're looking at traces for Mara. So now that we have a general idea of what's going on, I'm gonna go and investigate Mara's profile a little bit more, and we'll see that if anything is wrong in her profile. So we can go over to users here, and we can find Mara. So now we go to Mara's page, and what I want to look at here is her memory, because it seems that some of this Dan stuff is getting shoved into her memory, because this is information that's not in the system prompt. So that tells me it's probably in the memory, okay? And we go over here, and we look at our memory stores, right? Here we have user Mara, and then this is something that has to relate to budget. So we go over here to the budget memory. We see that something has been added here, which is Dan's accommodation budget is 60 euros per night maximum, okay? And we go over here and we can see when it was updated. So now we've identified what is causing the issue. So now we need to think, well, how do we fix this? So that is where we're actually going to go into signals. Now, we've been annotating this whole time because every time we do an annotation, what's going to happen is that that the Latitude platform is going to put those annotations together and find the issue, the commonality that unites them all. And it's going to create a signal out of that, right? And this is going to be something that we can look at in the signals page over here. So as you can see here, we have an issue called memory written for the wrong subject. We can go in here and click on this issue, all right? And we'll be brought to an issue detail page. Now, the more we annotate, the more accurate this issue detail page is going to become, but we can go over here and we can look at every instance where this issue has appeared in our traces, okay? So here I see we have about 36 occurrences of this, which tells me that this is a pretty important issue, right? And we have this set as a high priority. Now, I want this fixed so I don't have to worry about this issue anymore. I already know what occurs, and we know that it's causing problems for our users, so we want it fixed. So what we're gonna do now is what's called agent dispatch. So you're gonna see this up here called send agent. We get to click on this, and you are going to be able to select here any of your common coding harnesses that you might use, or if you don't use a typical coding harness, you can also set up a webhook, okay? But here I have Claude Code set up. So what I'm going to do is send this signal to my Claude Code. And my Claude Code actually has a routine set up where it's going to be able to go, and my Claude is going to go ahead and it's going to fix this issue and submit a PR to the repository where we have this agent, okay? So I did this by hand, but you can actually have this configured so that whenever a new signal is created, that is automatically sent to your Claude Code agent or your cursor or what have you, and it's fixed from there. So you don't even have to do anything. You could really just stop at the annotation part. So that was done successfully. Now we're going to go over to Claude Code and see what's happening over there. So now we're in Claude Code, and you can see that Claude is working on this, right? It's been called today at, you can see when it's called, you can see that it's automatically running, right? And we see that it's doing some stuff over here. So we're going to let this run a bit. Once it's done, we're going to go onto GitHub, and we're going to check out the PR and then merge it if we're satisfied. Awesome. So that's all done. We have the PR here, and let's go click and check it out. So here we're on the GitHub repo, and you can see that the identifier, which is given right here on the signal, we can see that this identifier here is the same identifier that we have right here. So this is what we're going to use to identify the signal within our PRs. And you can see that there's a description of the signal that's being solved, right? And you can see here that we have all the details about the fix that was implemented. All right, and all we have to do is merge the pull request, right? So once that's done, we've shipped a fix, and we could say we're done here. But there's one other thing that we could do before. We know we've shipped a fix, and we think it's probably resolved. But what's quite good practice for AI agents is to create what's called a regression test. And I'll show you a bit about how we can create those regression tests. We make it quite easy for this kind of stuff because for a regression test, normally you need a good data set, right? And what is a better data set than all the traces where your specific issue appeared? So what we can do here is actually go into these traces, go into our signal here, right? And we can grab all of the traces with this button here, add to a data set. Now I already have created the data set called memory subject attribution, so we're going to click there and add to data set, okay? Cool. You can go over here and look at those data sets as we go on building them. We have the ability to import more data, to export the data set itself. And recall that all of this is accessible through your MCP. So really, even to make it simpler, what we could do is go into Claude Code and say, run a regression test. And what I recommend for when you run a regression test is actually just to go to our sandbox here, okay? And use this product slug and new API key. And what this is going to allow you to do is run a bunch of new traces in as an experiment and not affect your original product. So this is great for regression testing. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and have fun fixing your agents.